Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of From the Pavilion End. We have taken a couple of days off after the India versus England test finished, just to let us, breathe in properly because it has been exhilarating 8 days of test cricket, where all the results were possible for each of those two tests. That this two tests after two tests, the two teams are 1-1. I think it's a fair reflection of the strengths and the weaknesses and the strategies that both the teams have um, brought to the table in this series. Um, I would say that India managed to overcome a strong England team despite being probably at their weakest that they will ever be in this series, um, on the basis of two gigantic individual contribution. One from Yashasvi Jaiswal and the second from Jasprit Bumrah. I would not count the Shubman Gill contribution in the second innings that much because I feel if it was not Gill, maybe somebody else could have probably, stood up. And also, Gill's was not a flawless innings. He had a lot of chances. He had a very lucky DRS break, but then so did Ollie Pope in that first innings. And I would say the Gill innings is probably, similar to Ollie Pope's innings or the first innings. But the two outstanding Indian plays of this series has been Jaiswal with his first double hundred and Bumrah with his 9 for.
So our podcast is available on Spotify. Just search From the Pavilion End. We are also available on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and on YouTube Podcast. Please show your love by subscribing and following the podcast. And please like the episode and share it with your friends.
Welcome, Krishnendu and Bikiran, to this review. Let's start this process and let's look at those two individual contributions that I talked about. Let's look at Jaiswal. Krishnendu, who does he remind you of as a opener, firstly? And secondly, how do you rate that double hundred where the team didn't even score 400 and he managed to score a double hundred on his own?
No, I've been impressed with Jaiswal since I saw him in West Indies, to be honest, especially in Test cricket. I think he has a temperament to adapt his game to Test cricket. We first saw Jaiswal in IPL when he was hitting bowlers around. But what he has shown, especially in the double hundred, is he has the game to adapt. He started his innings pretty slowly. If you remember, it was not like a. Eventually, he ended with a strike rate of around 70-75, but the innings started pretty slowly. So there was this understanding he needed to cash in. He looks like those Mumbai batters who once they see a good batting pitch, they bring their bunk beds in and score big. I was really I was happy to see him perform because he had this poor South Africa tour, which I think he struggled with the conditions. I think he'll improve eventually at some point. But what really impressed me was his temperament. Temperament in the first innings to actually when wickets were falling around him, he was still he kept his calm, he kept his composure, and scored big. Because that innings was, to be honest, 396 was not a great score. But India wouldn't have scored that much to Jaiswal was not there. So I think it's a pretty good innings for someone who's just starting out in Test cricket. And when it comes to, he reminds me, Jaiswal looks very. His pads reminds me of Saurav Ganguly, but he's a very different batsman to Saurav.
No,
Uh,
I
I can't remember. I can't remember a opening batsman from India who reminds me of Jaiswal reminds me of. He's an attacking batsman, but most opening batsmen in India these days are attacking batsmen.
Now, I may be throwing my mouth open for a lot of big bats to come in, but the opener that Jaiswal reminds me of, and I say this in all respect, is Matthew Hayden. Matthew Hayden, when he came in 1994 and all, he was not a success. But the revised Hayden, who came in, had a penchant for big scores. He did not make small hundreds. He
Yeah.
just would go on and go on and go on and pummel them every time. I feel that this guy he's not as elegant as some of the other Indian left-handers that we have had. Let's say somebody like even a Yuvraj Singh. He doesn't have that flourish or something like that. He doesn't always hit through the covers. He can hit through the leg side. He will hit sixes on the
He
leg
does
side.
hit to the covers, but when we see cover drives, it's elegance. He bashes the ball through the covers.
Exactly.
He bashes the ball through the covers.
Yes.
That is why I feel that, he reminded me more of Matthew Hayden. If he has a career like, even 50% of Matthew Hayden, then I think India's opening problems would be solved for a long, long time. And he would have, he would have, rued his fate that he got out in the first over of Joe Root in that first test. Otherwise, he would have scored 100 there also, and most likely India would have won. So Jaiswal definitely, I feel India has unearthed a definite gem. Bikiran, coming to Bumrah, we have, in our private conversation, I have less than cordial about his contribution to India's wins, especially away from India. The two tests in South Africa in 2022, in the fourth innings, they chased 200 plus runs. In the fourth innings in England, they chased 300 plus runs. Here we are seeing a one-man show in of all things an Indian condition, with reverse swing starting from the 26th or 27th over. I'll come to the 26th or 27th over reverse swing to Krishnendu later on. But let me ask Bikiran, is this the best that you have seen Bumrah bowl?
Look, yeah, maybe it is perhaps the best I have seen Bumrah bowl alongside that 33 for 6 alongside that 6 for 33 in the MCG in 2018, Actually, Bumrah's rise from the 2018 and Bumrah contributed towards many India's overseas wins as well. But yeah, as you mentioned that he was quite a bit disappointed in 2022 in South Africa, where he actually failed to step up in the fourth innings. But anyway, it happens to anyone. It happened with McGrath, it happened with Stein, and it happened with some other greats as well. So it happened. It happens with everyone. But Bumrah's in this spell, I have perhaps the best I have seen. This was a very, very good batting pitch. India actually couldn't cash in the opportunity on the day one. India should have scored more than 450 or 500 runs. So for me, India were at least 50 or 60 runs short. And then England started very well on the day two. They were 100 for one or something like that. Then he bowled that absolutely gem of a spell. Bumrah was actually a bit off color in his first spell, and Bumrah mentioned that in India, unless you get that a bit of seam movement or something else, it's very hard to take the wickets with the new ball with the conventional swing. So the reverse swing came into the picture after the 25 or 26 over, and then it was just a magical spell. The way he got out to Joe Root, that setup was brilliant, and then of course that Ollie Pope delivery, that reverse swinging Yorker, and it was brilliant. Also, and not just that, and Rohit was actually a bit good. Rohit was actually did not repeat the same mistakes what he did in the first match when in the first test as well. Bumrah in Hyderabad, he got out Joe Root out and someone like Ben Duckett out in the second innings, but Rohit didn't introduce him in the second after T in the second innings. But he didn't repeat the same mistake in this test. And Bumrah was magical after the T as well, where he got Ben Stokes out and Johnny Bairstow out. So it was magical spell and one of the finest I have seen any pacer bowled in India maybe it's as good as that Dale Steyn spell in the Nagpur in 51 for 7 or something like that. It was as good as that, and it's a brilliant spell that we expect many more spells like this from Bumrah in future as well.
So, you mentioned the root dismissal, the setup for the root dismissal, the setup, and of course, everybody likes the stumps being clattered everywhere, two stumps being clattered everywhere. That
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
but the two dismissals that stood out for me in the first test and in the second test of Bumrah were the two Stokes dismissal.
Ben Stokes.
The
Yeah,
first
actually,
dismissal,
actually,
Stokes said, "What can I do?" He he
yeah,
had,
yeah.
he had come to smash Bumrah in the first test, and he just saw the way the ball curved and he said, "What can I do?" He just left it. Second dismissal, he just dropped his bat because the ball didn't veer either left or veer right.
Yeah,
It went straight. A reverse swinging ball, when it goes straight, that is as killer as any blow could be. So Joe Root said,
yeah.
I mean, what can I do? I mean, that's like when the captain of the opposition team is throwing his hands up and saying that is beyond me. That is probably the best, the certification that you can have. I'll also add one more piece here. James Anderson.
Yeah,
James Anderson was struck on the back leg in the first innings, and
yeah.
he
That LBW appeal.
wanted to
Yeah,
review. They had two
yeah.
reviews left, and
Yes,
Jimmy
yes.
Anderson could have easily taken a review. I mean, just for seeing what happens. And Jimmy Anderson is not a spring chicken like let's say a Rehan Ahmed or something. He would have always taken a review if he thought that there was anything to it. He, as a batsman, knew that this is plumb. When somebody like Jimmy Anderson, who has close to 700 wickets, doing the similar kind of thing that Bumrah was doing, and he feels that he's plumb, doesn't even take a wicket. That shows that the fear and the respect that the opposition has for Bumrah.
And Bumrah said after the after Bumrah said in the interview that he actually tried to bowl an outswinger there, but the ball went slightly low and that hit the stumps. So yeah, that was actually Stokes was in a shock as well there.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean that was a quite an out of the world bowling to Ben Stokes.
yeah.
Christian, though, I'll come to you. Um, Are you surprised with the amount of reverse that India has been getting for Bumrah after roughly 25, 26 overs?
No, I'm not, because the SG ball, if you maintain the ball pretty well, it reverses pretty early. I don't know whether anyone remembers, but 2008 when Australia came to India, Zahir Khan was reversing the ball after 15 overs. Ball starts reversing very early, and and the thing is, SG balls reverses early and then stops reversing after 40-45, and the ball becomes soft. So
Yeah.
as long as the ball is hard enough, the ball reverses. Its SG ball is very different from Kookaburra. Kookaburra, the older ball reverses. And of course, you need a bowler like Bumrah to exploit it. Of course, you cannot. Mukesh Kumar was also bowling with the same ball. He was not doing much.
Of course, Bumrah has now become the first Indian fast bowler, pace bowler, to be ranked number one in ICC. Although I don't put too much on this number one ratings, because
Babar Azam was the number one batsman for a long time.
those ratings are also a function of who is playing, who is not playing, who is missing how many matches. So this is a cumulative thing. But the thing that Bumrah has done right now, his career test average is the best amongst all pace bowlers after World War II. So
Around 20 point something, which is astonishing for a bowler who has he has been playing for what, 6 years now? Test cricket since
Yeah,
2018.
from 2018. Yeah.
2018.
Only actually Sydney Barnes has a better average than Jasprit Bumrah with more wickets, with more test
The
wickets.
thing is, if Jasprit Bumrah was fit enough, he was fit for a longer time, I think Jasprit Bumrah could have easily cracked 300, 350 wickets.
Yeah,
Uh,
obviously.
I don't think he will. He doesn't have the fitness for it. But yeah,
I think he will. I think he will
Especially-
somewhere settle in around 250 to 270 or approximately.
Yeah, 250, 270. If he plays longer, if he's fit. Sometimes bowlers improve. You can see James Anderson. He's 41 years
Yeah,
still playing.
yeah.
So I don't think Jasprit Bumrah has the fitness levels of James Anderson. But yeah, he should. If he was fitter, he should have taken 350 wickets easily. But that won't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's one of the finest bowlers, finest fast bowlers I have seen across all formats. And possibly by the time he retires, I think he's already the best fast bowler India has produced. I don't think anyone this level of skill. I mean, Kapil Dev has taken more wickets, but would end up as taking more wickets. But I don't think Kapil Dev was as good as Bumrah.
Yeah, I mean, if Bumrah plays 134 tests like Kapil,
He won't
then
cross 500.
then he would be having more than 500 wickets. I mean, he would be Magra level if he plays like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
134. So
But he
he's
would not.
a Magra level bowler. I mean, okay. Let's now look at what we have observed in these two tests across this series. There is baseball, and then there is probably spin domination,
Dravid ball.
of in India. So the narrative that was there was that baseball will face its ultimate baseball is the immovable is a unstoppable force. Then the immovable object is going to be the spin trio or whoever the spinners from India. Surprisingly, so far the Indian spinners have taken less wickets than the England spinners.
I think
The
Indian spinners have been outbowled by the Indian spinners.
Indian wicketkeeper has been out wicket kept out kept and outbatted by the England keeper.
Keeper.
India's openers, except for Jaiswal and number three, as in top three, have been outbatted by English top three. Even if you take Bumrah out, India's fast bowling has been outbowled by the English bowlers. Even after all of these things, where we see that the Indian team has been playing, hitting duds. Most of the Indian team is hitting duds. Um, Even after that, the score is 1-1. And then 1-1 is basis of an all-time great knock by Ollie Pope. And even then, the margin of victory for England was 28 runs. So count all the advantages that the English team has been having and all the disadvantage the India team has been having. And I'm not even talking about who is not playing for India. I'm not even going into that. And still this result is 1-1 because this second test showed that the India team was at its weakest. The India 11 was at its weakest. There was a graphic which showed the entire run tally of all the Indian 11 players was less than Joe Root. So, Krishnan, my question to you uh, is it really that difficult to win in India where a team as well-oiled, as well managed, as well planned, as the baseball team of Ben Stokes have come here, won the toss, batted first. Even in the second match, they lost the toss, but they were batting in the second day. I mean, middle of the second day. And even then, they have lost a match by over 100 runs. And the first match, they could barely win by 28 runs. The counter story to that is nobody wins in India. England has won the first match in India. And the second match, they scored the second ever highest runs in the fourth innings that any team has scored, in visiting team has scored in India. Sri Lanka's 299 is the highest in 2017. England made 292. So there are two narratives to this. My question is it really that difficult to win in India that even weakest Indian team can still beat you based on individual performances? Or is it that we are probably underestimating baseball still?
Look at the two test matches. The two teams who won the test matches, both the teams, one of the batsmen scored big. In the first test, Olipop scored big, England won. In the second test, Yashasvi Jaiswal scored big, and India won. The problem with this is most batsmen are, some of the batsmen are settling down, scoring 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. But those big scores. And if you have to win in India, you have to score. You need a couple of daddy hundreds to win test matches in India. And Olipop, England got that. That Olipop innings for the freak innings. Like if Olipop plays the same way, again, he won't score 194. I can assure you that. He won't score 196 runs. He will get out at 50-60. That was a freak innings. Like I would say the quality of innings that Jaiswal played was a much better quality innings. It was much more flawless innings than Olipop's. I think India have, in the first test, India played badly. They had one bad day. That got them, basically that one bad day got a test match because India dominated the test match for the first 3 days. They for the first 2 days. Third day, they had a really bad day and it went all right. With the second test match, I think India won the crucial moments. When they were 114 for 1, England, Jasprit Bumrah came in and bowled at a magical spell. When they needed one big 100, Yashasvi Jaiswal scored it. Even in the fourth innings, when they needed someone to score, Shubman Gill, you can say that was lucky innings, but Shubman, you make your own luck. A lot of batsmen will have that lucky break and will get out at 30 or 40. He scored that 100. India got that 100 from Shubman Gill. So India won the key moments in the second test. England haven't played badly. Like I would have expected England. I could have said England. This would have been a 2-0 by now, but England have kept the series alive. But the problem with England right now is baseball. Everything is good for you, but once you come against quality bowling, you cannot hit your way out. Like I didn't understand. Like for example, the second innings of the second test, Jack Crawley's innings was a very good innings. He was scoring runs. He was respecting the good balls and scoring runs. Joe Root played an inexplicable innings. I don't know what was Joe Root trying to do. I have no idea. Because it was not that kind of a track where one ball will turn and it will have a number. It was even on the fourth day, it was a pretty good batting track. So Joe Root's innings makes no sense. I said that England lost some key moments in the second test. They could have won that test match. But they lost some very key moments.
Yeah, if I add in here, what I feel is that, firstly, like most of us, India had slightly, underestimated England's potential. They had slightly. Second thing is that Rohit Sharma is not showing the nuances that makes a very, very you need to be a very canny captain in India, because the match can run away in a single session. One single session where somebody scores 150 or odd runs for his team and the match is away. So Rohit Sharma is missing the crucial things. I mean, Ben Duckett has been a known bunny of Ravichandran Ashwin. Why is not Ashwin opening the bowling when every time they're opening with two pacers? The second pacer that India has bowled has never got.
I have no understanding why are India playing to the second seamer.
Exactly.
I think Siraj is a better bowler than Mukesh, I'm sure. But how many overs did Siraj bowl in the first test? How many overs did Mukesh bowl in the first test? Why are we going in with 10 cricketers?
We are going in
to 11.
We are actually going in with 9 cricketers because
wicketkeeper, I agree.
Our wicketkeeper and second pacer cannot even bat. Okay. Now,
I agree.
If the second pacer was somebody like a Mohammad Shami or a Umesh Yadav who could actually
Let's assume if Hardik Pandya was fit, they could have played Hardik Pandya.
Forget Hardik Pandya. Umesh Yadav can actually reverse, if not like Bumrah,
the ball
at pace. Shami can reverse the ball at pace. Both Umesh and Shami can actually hold the bat better than what Siraj or Mukesh or even Srikhar Bharat actually does. So that's a fact. So if you have
Okay, I have not watched Ranji cricket, to be honest. I don't know how. Shikhar Bharat has an average of more than 40 in Ranji cricket. How, I have no idea. I have heard he plays a slog sweep pretty well. I have not seen a slog sweep from Shikhar Bharat in the first
no,
two
so
tests.
I can
Actually, I have seen one reverse sweep of Srikhar Bharat in Delhi Test where India were 139 for 6. At that stage, that reverse sweep was completely unnecessary. He played that shot against, I think, Tor Murphy, and then that went to the keeper and he got out, and India were 139 for 7. Actually, I have
So
seen that one.
he actually, I have heard he sweeps pretty well. I have not seen a single sweep. Shikhar
Yeah.
Bharat looks like that player who has no business playing international cricket.
Yeah.
Who has no, he might be a solid
no,
performer in domestic cricket,
I think
but he has no business playing international cricket.
we are giving too much airtime to Srikhar Bharat. We all agree that this guy is probably the worst Indian wicketkeeper batsman since one MSK Prasad. Ironically, from the same state, played for India. It may not be ironic actually. So Shikhar Bharat, I can actually name at this point 5 Indian wicketkeepers who are currently playing in Ranji Trophy cricket, who will be doing a better work both on the keeping front as well as on. I mean, he's not a great keeper. He misses stumping. He
Yeah.
misses catches. He gives away those buys. So he's not a great keeper at all.
Ac-
I can name 5 keepers. Riddhiman Shah. He's still playing for Tripura. He can still bat better than Shikhar Bharat, and he can keep like anything. Okay. Prav Simran Singh from Punjab. He's hitting double centuries for fun. He can actually tonk the ball. He can be actually a proper, top order player, and he can be your wicket keeper also. Upendra Yadav has played for India A quite a lot. He was just playing against the India Lions in the other day. He also kept wicket. He's a proper, number 6 player for UP. Then there is Aryan Jewel, who was the wicketkeeper for India team that won in 2018 under 19 trophy under Prithvi Shaw. Aryan Jewel is currently opening for UP and scoring double hundreds for fun. And then, of course, there is Dhruv Jurel in the team itself. And I am not even saying that KL Rahul needs to keep. No, actually, we are spending too much airtime on Srikhar Bharat. But let us look at what England has been doing, and where are they falling short. England should have actually, with their better planning, made this series much more closer than it's already what it is, and probably should have been 2-0 up. So where do you think England is falling short, Krishnendu?
Yeah, right. In England, spinners are taking more wickets, have taken more wickets. But if you look at the economy rates of the England spinners, they are not actually putting too much pressure on the batsmen. Most of the Indian batsmen are getting out trying to hit them.
Correct.
It's not like that short legs, they are getting caught at short leg. For example, Rohit Sharma's wicket in the first test. It was a nothing shot. They had leg slip. He just dabbled it to leg slip. It's not like some extremely good bowling is happening and and they're like applying pressure and that is getting the wicket. Indian batsmen have some of the shot making of the Indian middle order have been like very suspect. I don't know what they're doing. Like in the second test, they should have scored 500. They ended up with 396. So yeah, I don't think the England spinners are bowling that well. They're bowling better than the first innings, of course, first innings. But they are not applying enough pressure on the Indian batsmen yet. So it's whatever pressure is being applied is by James Anderson. Whenever Anderson is coming to bowl, if you look at the economy rates, Anderson is bowling at 1.5, and every England spinner is going for 3.5, 4 for 4.5. So that is where the problem lies. I think their bowling effort, it looks good on paper, but for example, in the second test, second innings, India should not have scored 260, 270. They should, like the way they were batting, they should have been wrapped up by 210, 220. But England scored 50 extra runs because the spinners aren't putting enough pressure. It's all on Anderson to put pressure on the.
What about the
Indian
batting?
I think same problem. Batting, they are getting starts. Duckett has got a start. Crawley has got a start. But other than that, Olipop 196. Nobody has gone and scored 100. Even forget a daddy 100, a simple 100. So baseball and everything is pretty good. But if you're not scoring, if you're not putting up 400, 450 on the kind of tracks India have given them, until you're not going to win test matches consistently.
Actually, that 60 or 70 or like 50, 60, 70, this can be helpful in the rank turner where you get the 200 runs average.
Exactly. But India have
but
not
on this
given the
type
rank
of track,
turners yet.
Yes, on this type of track, you need to score 350, at least 400, at least 350 to 400 runs
I
to
think
pile on.
I think you both are speaking the same language without actually hitting the nail on the head, and that hitting the nail on the head is that England has even within baseball, there are different roles that different batsmen play. The role of
I think you are talking about Joe Root.
role of Crawley, Duckett, Pope, Bairstow,
Joe
Stokes,
Root.
all of them are basically start and play at 4 runs per over or 5 runs per over and do not stop. Now, if you do not stop, then basically you make your innings more risky. And all of these players that I'm talking about, Crawley, Pope, Stokes, or Duckett, Bairstow, their games are not made for batting at the same average rate for prolonged time. I mean, like you said, Pope's innings was once in a lifetime kind of innings. The two players who have been hitting big hundreds consistently are Joe Root and Harry Brook since baseball started. One of them is, for personal reasons, not playing this series. The other person has been used as a substitute of Ben Stokes, and he is more effective as a bowler now rather than a batsman. So when you make a true batting legend bowl 30 overs every innings, he becomes a bowling all-rounder. So it's no wonder that he played that shot. The way that this England team is playing, they are all good for very good uh, 40s, 50s, 60s. Now, if all of them score 40s, 50s, 60s, then they can go and make it up to around, let's say 350 or even 400 on a good day. But on a bad day, the same thing, they will get all out for 250. And that's what has been happening for, 3 of the 4
3 out of 4
things that
innings,
they
yes.
played. On the bowling front, I feel that they are actually misled by Ben Stokes. Misled in the sense that he wanted to play 3 spinners on a perfectly placid batting come bowling wicket. If he had actually played, 1 spinner or even, 2 spinner or even 1 spinner, if the spinner was a good one and he played 2 spinners or 1 spinner and 2 proper bowlers, one could have been a tear away like Gus Atkinson, the other could have been somebody like a Ollie Robinson or James Anderson. This could have been a attack which should have made India even score lesser, have more doubts. More of the Indian batting would struggle against pace and reverse swing than seeing 3 juvenile spinners coming into bowl. None of them create the fear of God in their in this Indian batting lineup. Exceptional luck has ensured that India team has not put in a 500 or a 600 run innings against this juvenile England bowling. That brings us to the rest of the series. We will talk about the rest of the series in 2 parts. The first part is essentially what strategy each team needs to now take to counter the other, because now both have got a fair understanding of the kind of pitches that India will be producing. It will not be a Turner. It will not be a batting beauty. It will be something where there is enough for batting and bowling. And maybe by the fourth day, maybe by the fifth day, the pitch deteriorates. We all
I don't
know
think you can
how
do that in Rajkot.
England will be batting. We all know how
Yeah.
Indians will be batting. We know Virat Kohli is not going to play any part in this series anymore. Uh, Given all of this, what do you think Krishnendu is Baz McCullum and Ben Stokes' strategy for the next three tests?
James Anderson will play the third test, I'm sure, because 10 days rest, I think he will play.
Yeah.
I don't understand whether they should play a second. I don't think they're playing a second fast bowler because they want to play three spinners, but because they want more batting options. Hartley does a better job than Ollie Robinson as a batsman. Rehan Ahmed does a better job as a batsman than Ollie Robinson.
My suggestion for Ben Stokes and Baz McCullum will be play your two best pacers. Do not shy away from playing two pacers. Gus Atkinson or Mark Wood as the enforcer, and Jimmy Anderson / Ollie Robinson as the person who can bowl long spells.
But the problem is England's whole strategy depends on having 9 players who can bat. That is their strategy.
Mark Wood,
If they
Mark Wood
suddenly
is a better batsman.
Mark
Wood is a
Wood is
better
not a
batsman than Shoaib Bashir. Second point that they have to do is they have to play Dan Lawrence in place of Johnny Bairstow. Dan
They
Lawrence
won't.
has
The problem is Dan Lawrence doesn't attack as Johnny Best. That's the problem.
So you have to adjust with what Dan Lawrence brings to the table. Johnny Bairstow is going to score between 20 and 25 runs in all the next 6 innings that he plays, if he plays all 3 matches. Coming to Bikiran, what do you think India should be doing to counter Basball and win this series?
Okay, as for my suggestion is that I think Jadeja is unavailable, so Jadeja would not play. Rahul is most likely to come back, so Rahul will obviously play in place of Sreyash Iyer. I will give actually Rajat Patidar one more chance because it's actually I think very harsh to drop a player just based on one debut game. So I will give Rajat Patidar one more match and then swap Rahul with Iyer. And then in the bowling front, I would not suggest to rest Bumrah in the third test. In Rajkot, if it's a batting paradise, India must need Bumrah. India must need Bumrah to take the 20 wickets there. And Ashwin actually, as we see in this series, that Ashwin is definitely not at his best, let alone at his best. He is bowling very ordinary in this series. So this is not the Ashwin we all know that in the Asia. So to Bumrah is a must actually in this Rajkot for me. So then Bumrah, Kuldeep, Akshar, Ashwin, and then another one in the Washington Sundar they can play actually in the extra battle because I don't think that Mukesh is going to create any impact. And if they wants to go with the two simmers, then go with the Siraj at least. At least Siraj will do better than the Mukesh. Mukesh is absolutely it's actually.
No, I don't think playing two pacers in Rajkot will make any difference. Rajkot is mostly a batting wicket, and in a batting wicket,
it depends on their thinking. Yeah.
a batting wicket, I don't feel that having a second pacer will help. If you actually want to have a second pacer, call Umesh Yadav, or if Mohammad Shami is unfit, call Umesh Yadav or somebody else who can actually bowl reverse swing. You do not. Siraj will be cannon fodder in a pitch like Rajkot. Mukesh Kumar too would be a cannon fodder. Both are equally bad. On the bowling front, if Jadeja is available, then Jadeja must come back, and in that case, I would still
Obviously, yeah. If
Kuldeep.
Jadeja is yeah.
Kuldeep is basically one player who made a difference in that second test. You did not see the English batsman actually take chances against Kuldeep in a unorthodox manner, in the sense that they did not try to hit reverse sweeps out of Kuldeep. Whenever they tried to hit Kuldeep, it was like, down the ground or over the mid wicket, with the spin. It was not against the spin. They didn't try that. just because this Kuldeep still has that fear factor. Ashwin, I think definitely Rohit needs to improve his handling of Ashwin. Ashwin needs to start
Yeah,
the
obviously.
bowling. He needs to start. He needs to open that bowling attack with Bumrah. He cannot. He cannot come third change or second change when Ben
Actually,
Duckett.
actually, Ashwin bowled only 2 overs out of the first 25 overs in the second innings of the second test. That was purely inexplicable captaincy.
So yeah,
Ashwin,
so
you need to give the new ball to Ashwin.
Rohit Sharma has to make these plans better, and Ashwin
Yeah,
should, as a senior player, he should say these things that I should be opening the bowling with Bumrah.
The problem with playing the second pacer is you have to bowl him at the start. So if you take away that second pacer, you have then Ashwin will start the bowling. But the problem is
Absolutely.
whenever playing a Mukesh or a Siraj, when will you bowl them? If you don't bowl them
The
in
other thing
the
is
first
that
10 overs, when will you
other
bowl
thing
them?
is that if you have a Umesh Yadav can start his bowling even on the 15th over because he actually bowls a
Yeah.
reverse. It's not the same with
yeah,
Siraj or Mukesh. They are conventional seam bowlers. They have to bowl with
yeah,
the new.
yeah, yeah.
So that's where, I mean, if you want a second pacer, it has to be Umesh, it has to be Mohammad Shami, it cannot be Mukesh or Siraj. On the batting front, I see it's a no-brainer considering that Virat Kohli is not going to play this entire series for his personal reasons, and we respect that. It has to be Cheteshwar Pujara. You cannot ignore the man any longer. This entire Indian team is crying out for
It's
some experience somewhere in that middle order. Rohit Sharma, if he was playing with the same kind of confidence like in the previous England tour or even the first match of the Australian tour, then I would have said, okay, you don't need Pujara. But this guy, Pujara, is born to bat. Maybe not score runs as much, but he's born to bat. And if he bats around him, you can then play all your stroke makers.
whenever you are in a tricky position, if you go back to Pujara, you go back to Rahane, then the team will not move forward. It will always be that there is a problem, let's bring in Pujara. So I don't think going back to Pujara is a solution. If you have to give these young players a chance to, if you don't give them a chance to fail, you have to give them a chance to fail too. So let's see out the whole series.
But at this point in time, I see that Iyer has shown that he doesn't even have the technique to play James Anderson on Indian pitches. Shubman Gill has scored a very lucky 100. I know that he'll play the rest of the series, but Iyer has to go. Patidar, just because it's his first test, he hasn't shown anything which says that he will be there for another, let's say, 15, 20 tests. Just because of sentimental reasons, if you have to give him another
But you
test,
have to give you have to give these people a chance. You cannot like count out a batsman after one test
I
match
would, I
Yeah,
and
would,
go
yeah,
back
yeah.
to Pujara.
I would, I would place winning the series above natural justice or injustice being done to a player. I would 100% bring back Pujara for the third test, put him in number 3, put Shubman Gill in number 4 because Kohli is not coming, and number 4 is ultimately going to be Shubman Gill's number. So put Gill in number 4, put Rahul, who is coming back, at number 5. If Jadeja was coming back, maybe I would have said, okay, fine, take a chance with Patidar. Jadeja is not coming back for third test. This is again going to be a very weak batting lineup. And why you shoot yourself in the leg when there is still a chance? I let's agree to disagree here that again the wise men under Agarkar will decide it, and most likely they will go with youth. But if they have any 1% also thought about countering baseball, the antithesis of baseball is Pujara. The antithesis, complete antithesis. So you put Pujara against baseball. Rohit is out of form. Gill is out of form. Patidar is a unknown thing. He is not in form at least. Rahul has played only one innings after in that the first innings was good. Even then, he threw his wicket away when the century was there for the taking. You do not have a single player outside of Jaiswal who can play 200 balls. Jaiswal and Jadeja. These are the two players who could play 200 balls. I we have seen, how baseball has come and challenged India. Many of us did not rate baseball. I today actually have a different feelings for baseball. I feel that baseball could succeed in India if they actually plan better, make their team play better in the sense that batting doesn't have to be always, score at 4 runs per over. Sometimes you also have to play out maidens. And Zach Crawley was the one batsman who actually was doing that in that second innings. So I think if more such players adopt that kind of play, this England team is really going to be, a handful. So one last question, Krishnendu and Bikiron, where do you see the series score?
India will win it 3-1.
With one
With
draw.
Rajkot, one draw. I don't see England winning a test match from here because I think India will understand the mistakes they made in the first two tests. They'll realize if they bat a little more patiently, they can score 500 against the England attack on any kind of track.
Yeah.
So India will learn from their mistakes. I think India will win it 3-1.
Bikiron?
I think it's 4-1 because the way baseball bat, they don't bat more than 80 overs. So they don't bat more than 80 or 100 overs. So I don't think that there will be any draw. Actually, it's gonna be
They
India's.
can get a draw if Pujara gets into the team. There will be a draw. Definitely.
Actually, I don't think there is gonna be any draw. 4-1 in India's favor, or at worst result, it can be 3-2 if India fail to take the 20 wickets, or they fail to take the 20 wickets at a cheaper cost if Bumrah does not play. So there might be England sneak in with one win, but I am most likely it's gonna be 4-1 for India.
Yeah, I'm also going with 4-1 here. I think that best case for England will not come in Ranchi or in Rajkot. It will be in Dharamshala. And Dharamshala, it will be probably a turner there. Instead of, playing Bumrah, they will play four spinners. Incidentally, if Jadeja is not fit, if Jadeja is fit, I would advise India take Aksar out and play Kuldeep as the third spinner. If Jadeja is unfit, then we should take away the second pacer and play uh, Washington Sundar as the fourth spinner, along with Ashwin and Akshar and Kuldeep. So let's see how the series pans out. The Indian team for the next two test matches or the three test matches have not yet been announced. Probably it will be announced for two test matches, and then the fifth test match will be announced subsequently. It's known at this point in time that Virat Kohli is not coming back for the third and fourth test. We do not know if Harry Brook is coming back. Nothing is known on the English front. But so far, we have seen that this is going to be a very engrossing test series, one of the best India-England series in a long, long time. And hopefully, we will see results in all the remaining three tests. It's been a pleasure bringing this episode to you. If you like this episode, please like and share it. Please also subscribe or follow our podcast.